This is week 3 of Wednesday check-in. So a weekly Wednesday check-in. And what I do during this time is I share just what lesson is learned over the last 7 days. This week, and I was so excited. So originally, I was going to share something about showing up. I've had some really great lessons with the topic of showing up. However, I want to actually do that one completely different than this week's on purpose. And the reason is because technically speaking, the showing up one happened during the same week of the turf and the grass. And so it's been like 2 weeks. So I want to be really true to what I've learned within the last 7 days. I take completely for granted the skill sets and the things that I teach my children. And the reason that I take it for granted is because I got pregnant at 16, had my son at 17, and then I've just been a mom ever since. I got pregnant at 18, had Anna at 19, pregnant with Hayden at 20, had him at 21, and then years and years later, right, got divorced, all that stuff, got remarried, and then I always say, like, I had the other 2 kids at like normal people age, right, in my 30s, and so but I have the 5 kids, and something I have taught all of my children since, in essence, they were in my stomach, has been, in a world where you could choose to be absolutely anything, you get to wake up and you get to choose every single day of your life what you're going to be, kindness and love. And kindness and love to me it shows up through words and actions aligning. And those of you that know me, even if you don't know me, if you just glance through my social media, it is very obvious that words and actions aligning are like my thing. It is truly like a non-negotiable. It's a way that I operate. I'm wired, and I own that, and I am great with that. Not worried. So last week, my son, the 8-year-old, so Witten, he had come home, right, and he had expressed this desire, right, to want to provide for one of his little friends. So he said, Mom, we go to eat at lunch, and my friend, and he told me his name, and he said, he always comes to school, but just with a sandwich, just like a small thing. And that's it. And I said, okay. And I said, does he have water? And he's like, he doesn't pack juice or anything. It's just a sandwich. And then, and sometimes he'll get hot lunch, but not all the time, because he goes, but he keeps being really hungry. And so I've been trying to share my lunch with him, and I hope you're not upset with me, but he's like really hungry, Mom. And I said, okay. I said, absolutely. I said, I am not angry with you. I am so grateful that you are choosing to make sure that your friend is provided for. And so through this conversation, we decided, because Witten can't connect the dot. Like, why is he going hungry, right? He's 8 years old. And so he doesn't understand that the concept, why is he going hungry? But he does understand that he committed to his friend, to his buddy, that he's going to help him, right? And he's going to make sure that he's got food. And so Witten was trying to give him his fruit snacks, right? So it started with the fruit snacks. And then one night we had ran out of the fruit snacks. So, because now we're doubling up, right? Like going for 2, and I'm great with it. And I said, I'm going to get us a bigger box, so that way we can always make sure to pack him some. And then we ended up adding goldfish. So now we do goldfish and fruit snacks. And Witten was, it's these kind of moments where you realize what you teach your children. It's like a magnitude effect, right? You teach them these things, and you teach them not to get the credit. You teach them so that they can learn the skill set, so they can go do it when you're not in the room. And I love his heart. I love that he was paying attention. And he said yesterday, like, we were in the car, and he said, Mom, he still isn't having a lot of food, so we're going to keep doing this. We can do it every day. I said, the Lord has afforded us the opportunity where we can make sure that he is okay, and we're going to do that. He goes, when I see his mom, if she ever comes, I'm going to ask her why she's only packing. I said, no. I said, we're not doing that. I said, Witten, I want you to remember what I shared with you. We don't know someone's situation, and that's okay. And we don't need to. I said, and what we want to make sure is that we don't make his mom feel like she's doing something wrong when possibly all she's doing is the best she can do for him. I said, so instead what we're going to do is we're going to have their back, and we're going to do it quietly. And so just for the rest of the year, we can continue packing the goldfish and the fruit snacks. And if you realize that he needs anything else, you just let me know. And I said, and then we'll just make sure. And then if that changes one day, then you just let me know and we'll stop packing them. He's like, okay, that makes sense. I want to remind us of those things, right? So often, in my opinion, right, we say, oh, if you need anything, let me know, I can help. Or, oh, if you need something, but we don't really do something with it. And or we go about things in such a way where we don't pause enough to say, I got to pause. Like, work is going to be there. Chaos is going to be there. Life is going to be there. Challenges are going to be there. Everything is going to continue being there because we are living our life and trying to survive this damn thing we call life, right? However, what we need to make sure is that we're paying attention, like Witten's paying attention to what is around us, right? And I'd like to think I have a pretty good meter on that for the most part, but there's still those areas of 1% improvement, right? And I just thought, I am so grateful, that he is my son, that he is choosing to do this, and he has taken it his personal mission to make sure that his friend doesn't go hungry. Where do we need as adults, like where do we need to like pause for a moment and say, hey, does somebody need something that way from us, and how can we offer support? It's not always about money. It's not always about fruit snacks and goldfish, right? Sometimes it can be prayer. Sometimes it can be encouragement. Sometimes it could just be a random text of, hey, you were on my heart, I was thinking about you. Or a message of like, I just wanted you to know that I think you're absolutely awesome. And I don't know if somebody's told you that. Or, hey, you're doing a great job being a single dad, or a great job being a single mom, or you're doing just a great job with your new promotion, or hey, you're doing a great job within the challenges that you're being faced with right now. Let's pause a second, right? And remember, in a world where we can choose to be absolutely anything, kindness and love, and how far those go. And in essence, it's such an act of love. It's such an act of validation. And it's such an act of being present and in the moment for other people. So with that, I see you. I love you. You matter to me. And with that, as always, I am certain I will talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.